collect. This was in the past, but what are your proactive or what are the corrective measures that you are taking to bring this money to the public coffers? Yeah, proceed.
Okay, sorry, Chair. It's, I'm reading the management response for the ROR ending June 30th, 2022, and that's number 5, arrears of revenue. On Chair, we agree with the auditor's observation on the revenue arrears of 7,917,515,120. This includes arrears from state corporations like KWS and Kenya Railways, who owe the bulk of the arrears. Availed is the current state of the arrears from the revenue collection system. The 2 sampled corporates previously used to contribute in lieu of rates that was not addressed during transition, making it difficult to enforce the collection of the arrears owed by them. We have availed current demand notices and demand letters as verification of efforts done, and that's Appendix 5.1. And the management has since put the following measures to recover debts: appointment of a debt collection agent to help in collection of outstanding debts. That's Appendix 5.2. We've also granted waiver on interest rates to encourage the ratepayers to pay outstanding principal amounts. That's Appendix 5.3. Number 3, we formed a revenue enhancement and inspection teams to check on the compliance by the ratepayers in all the sub-counties. And that's Appendix 5.4. And initiation of the process of gazettement of prime parking areas within our jurisdiction. We are painting and doing demarcation of all parking slots to improve revenue collection. And that's Appendix 5.6. So, Chair, that's part of what we are doing to make sure that we do as much as we can to try and collect as much as we are owed.
So how much is KWS and Kenya Railways owing?
Sorry. So, Chair, KWS, which is now the Lake Nakuru National Park, owes the county 3,761,454,708. The other one is the Kenya Railways owes the county 4,322,543,954. And then now we have others like the Pyrethrum Board of Kenya that owes the county 17,637,900. KGGCU owes 1,302,814. Catholic Diocese of Nakuru owes the county 4,482,525. KFA Limited owes the county 2,187,510, and a few others, including a few others.
So, what has been the conversation around this animal called CILOR? Collections in lieu of rates. I think that's what you're referring to.
Yes.
For KWS and Kenya Railways.
Yes.
Well, maybe you need to tell us, what are you doing? These guys owe you money, so you need to be demanding.
Chair, what we've been doing is actually sending them letters for demanding the payments. However, they have not been cooperative. A lot of what they are saying, some of those corporations like Kenya Railways, is part of the land, the prime pieces of land they used to have that gave them revenue, they no longer own them, and that sort of stuff. So it's become a difficult conversation because, and sometimes they say that they have not been given, they don't have enough money from the exchequer, so they are not able to pay. So it's actually becoming difficult, but one of the other things that we are trying to do, for example, is in Nakuru town, we have a very big bus park that we built using from the State Department. So instead of us paying rent for that piece of land, which is owned by the Kenya Railways, so we are in discussion where instead of us paying the rent, they discount from what they owe us and that sort of stuff. So that's really how we are trying to get it, because it seems like no matter how hard we push, they don't seem either willing or able to pay.
Senator Methu, did your committee process some legislative amendment? Was it the rating bill that was related to this?
Yeah, the rating bill
was there a relationship with the issues of collections in lieu of rates?
Yes. And we already actually passed it at the Senate. It now requires processing at the National Assembly.
How will it help the county governments?
We actually say that especially rates that are owed to counties by entities of the national government, it should be actually budgeted. I'll get to the specifics of what we got in the bill, but it was supposed to address these kind of challenges that especially counties face from the national government.
Okay, Senator Chirage.
Governor, but maybe just this is a lot of money that should assist you in terms of on-source revenue. I don't know, the fiscal analyst Salat did not give us the revenue potential of Nakuru. Maybe we'll do that. Secondly, Governor, looking at some of the people who you owe the county, like Municipal Council of Nakuru, I thought it was part of transitional authority, and it mutated to the current county government. I don't know why it exists there. And then, like Midland Hotel, this one near the road. What is it all about, this Midland Hotel? You owe like 2.3. And then Loreto School, 7.05 million. Are there any, apart from hiring debt collector, apart from getting the debt collector to collect some of these debts, is there an agreement, for example, with Loreto School, like the way KRA normally does, where they pay? Are there any agreement, or is just as it is today? Governor, when you go back to your office, do these still pending that being owed by Midland? Do you have any written engagement? Maybe you have told them you'll be paying 100,000 per month, 200,000 or such sort. And then finally, Governor, like Nakuru National Park, I thought like
Proceed, Senator. And Governor, I hope you are still with us.
Sorry, Chair. I was consulting actually on what I was hearing. I'm so sorry, Chair. I was hearing the Senator, and I was asking a question so that I respond in an accurate manner. Sorry.
Proceed,
let me finalize. So my question is, do you have any terms of engagement with these people you owe? Maybe they are paying you bit by bit. And then finally is, I saw Masai Mara was transferred to Narok County government. What is the status of like Nakuru National Park? Did you have conversation that it reverts back to the Nakuru County government so that it becomes management? And then on a lighter note, I can see Catholic Diocese of Nakuru Do you sometimes give waivers? Because if you give waiver to the Catholic Church, you might end up seeing the kingdom of heaven. Anyway, that is on a lighter. Thank you.
On a rejoinder to that one, Chair.
Senator Gatai.
And Governor, have you considered litigation to that man? Because there's a lot of money that can assist you in doing so many other things. No, somebody with your debts 2 years, 3 years down the line, why don't you take these people to court?
Governor,
Sorry, thank you.
Yeah, Chair.
Oh, sorry.
we allow Senator Methu so that you can consolidate the responses.
Mine would be mine would be a very quick one, Governor, on whether you have tried. I think it is related and tied to what Senator Cherargei is saying. Whether you've tried to engage for a negotiation with some of those people that owe you. Because we saw an example in the case of Laikipia. When they introduced their new variation role, there was big uproar from the big ranches that we have in Laikipia. Because they were supposed to pay, I think, an initial 8 shillings. What they have been paying was 50 cents, so it was a very big increase. So the governor had engaged into a negotiation with the ranchers, and it has raised their revenue to almost twice what they have been collecting. So have you ever engaged in a negotiation with especially some of these people who really are big debtors for you? I mean, if Kenya Railways does not have the money to pay, they can even forfeit part of their land to the Nakuru County so that you do not have to fight for the land of War Memorial every day that you see on TV. Maybe you can have more land for your own development.
Yes, Governor, proceed.
Oh, thank you, Chair and the Senators. We have been in discussion with most of these institutions that have been listed. One of them being Kenya Railways, like I was saying, so we are still in discussion and hopefully something will come out of it, where either, like one of the senators said, some of the areas where they don't use, some of their land that they don't use, and maybe we can put up a market, then, and they are not able to pay the money here, we are trying to have a discussion to see what then they can cede to the county government in terms as, instead of us waiting for them to have money, which they don't seem to have. So we are in discussions with that, with the Kenya Railways. I did meet the bishop and his team for the Catholic Diocese of Nakuru, and we actually gave them a waiver of 50% or something, quite a good percentage. So now with that, we are talking on how they'll be able to pay the balance of it, because a lot of this is very, very old debts. On the Lake Nakuru National Park, the president did have a discussion on that, where counties are able to, the counties that host these national parks are able to have a revenue sharing formula with the national government. I believe in our last session of IBEC, the 23rd session, that was one of the agendas on how we are going to start doing this, but the ministry did not turn up during that session. So hopefully, in fact, the chair is our COG chair on this is the governor of Narok, since he's way ahead on that. So we are hoping, hopefully by the time I come back here, we'll have some formula of revenue sharing, which also would go towards us being able to recover some of the money that we are owed by the Kenya Wildlife Services through Lake Nakuru National Park. A lot of these others, such as the Pyrethrum Board, who owes us quite a bit of money, the 17 million, we are in discussions with them to cede, even though not for us to own, but for us to be able to use a lot of their pieces of land. Pyrethrum Board of Kenya is one of those institutions that has a lot of land that is not used. So in fact, a lot of it is actually, to use the layman's word, just grabbed. So what, as a county, we are having discussions with them is if we could have use of these pieces of land where our women groups or our youth groups can grow pyrethrum and that sort of stuff with support from the county. So hopefully we are trying to do things that will not need them to give us cash, because it doesn't seem like it has worked this many years on, but also so that the county can get some benefit. We also do have investors or big individuals across the county who owe us money. Some of them being, maybe you can help us, like Karacha breweries, that owes the Naivasha Water Services 11 million shillings, and many other business people in Nakuru. And for that, we've sent a letter, and we are hoping that they are able to pay the county what they owe. So what we are doing as a county is being aggressive in
Maybe
being...
Chair, so that I get one. Did you say Keroche Breweries?
Right.
Okay, all right.
Owned by the senator of Nakuru. So we are in discussions to try and recover this money so that as a county then we are able to move.
Point of order, I think Senator Metu is being mischievous because Governor Senator has said a lot of things about Byredram and the rest. Why would he ask about somebody who is not here?
Obviously, because the data is a person that I can meet in the afternoon tomorrow when we are sitting for the session.
But
You know,
he's
the other
not
people from Byredram board, I don't know where to get
But
them.
she's not she's
I
not here
think
to
let's
defend herself.
distinguish between personal liability and limited liability.
Yes.
I believe Keroche is a limited liability company, which then we cannot discuss in the context of the senator. Please proceed, Governor.
So thank you, Chair. One of the other bigger debts that we have that we've sort of almost solved, we have a lot of very, very old houses. I would call them old houses in Nakuru County that people have not paid rent for those homes for many, many years. A lot of the times the politicians played politics with it and would tell the people not to pay. But however, right before the issues that we are having currently, we had sat with the tenants. We have agreed to waive, because a lot of them are not necessarily very able, but we've agreed to waive what they owe us, because they haven't paid for years, give them a month notice, which we are doing the month of July, so that from the month of August, they can start paying. It may not be much, it may be 5,000 here, 7,000 there, but it's a lot of houses. So that will help us in being able to collect. Just we move forward now.
The reason why this conversation is important, even as we exit it, is when we are conferring the city status on Nakuru, part of the criteria for grant of city status, it's in the Urban Areas and Cities Act, Section 51C, that the entity must have a demonstrable capacity to generate sufficient revenue to sustain its operations. And I'm seeing you're collecting revenues of 3 billion. I don't know what your current collection is. Has it hit 4? Has it hit 4 billion? Or where are you this year?
3.3. Oh, sorry, 3.6.
You're at
3.6, yeah.
But your salaries are 6 billion. So left alone, you are not self-sustaining. You are not self-sufficient. And you remember we had to cut a number of corners to grant the city status to Nakuru. There was this matter of revenue. There was the issue of airports. And you guys argued that there are a number of military and private airports in Nakuru. So we closed our eyes and said, okay, let's grant Nakuru city status. But it is this revenue thing that is going to sink you, because these revenues are not enough to sustain not just the city, but the county. You're collecting 3-point-something billion, your salaries are 6 billion. At least Nairobi, I think Nairobi is capable of paying its salaries from its own source revenue. For you, you can, if you're going to slash, we are slashing how much from counties? In Dora and Kara. Is it 20 billion?
Yes,
20 billion. Yeah. 1.2 billion. We are cutting off 1.2 billion. And I know that you will not tell us publicly to reject. Unless you want to go on record that we should reject that amendment. So the minute we take away 1.2 billion from your budget, what are you going to be doing? You'll just be paying salaries. So I think this conversation, when you look at Nakuru as a city, we must ensure that you do the right things to achieve your potential. And I don't think that it's just on these collections in lieu of rates, but there needs to be a more aggressive push to collect from productive sectors and not from facilities. Again, the bulk of your collections, about 1.7 billion, is from facilities, isn't it? Almost 50% of your collections is from facilities, doing business with the sick. Now, if we got to a point where health was free, where there was government-provided health cover for, there's a word they use for the most vulnerable, where I think the Ministry of Health is losing 6 billion for health cover for, they're called indigents. Indigents. If this national conversation that people are talking about was towards universal health, free health for everybody, Governor, you might lose your 1.7 billion. So I think from a financial risk perspective, Nakuru is on the red. The revenues you're collecting vis-a-vis your expenditure, they don't add up. And Nakuru should not be the county that begs from the national government. Nakuru should be the county that has enough money even to finance other counties. If you're at 3.6, and you inherited the county at 3.2, so the growth has been consistent with the growth in GDP, meaning that there is no growth attributed to your efforts, if you look at it that way. But the growth in OSR in Nakuru is consistent with the economic growth, not because of initiatives that we have put in place. And we are asking Salat from PBO to give us the OSR potential for Nakuru. Is he in the room? I know there's a new report that CRA tabled. Can you guys check out the OSR potential for Nakuru?
Yes, Chair, working on it.
Okay, Governor, well, they'll give us that. Maybe we'll refer to it during report writing. But I think that as we get out of these two reports, the ROR and CRF, we must challenge you that your own source revenue growth cannot be an autopilot growth that mirrors the growth of the economy. We need to see growth that is as a result of deliberate efforts that you put in place. Maybe automation, maybe efficiency in processes. We have not had that come out. Are you fully automated on your revenue streams?
Chair, we are actually cashless. We are fully automated. However, there are a few things we are putting in place that will help grow our own source revenue. One of them being, and by the way, Chair, my numbers show that when we came in, it was at 2.95 billion, and now we are at 3.6. So I think we've done a little bit, but we are going to do better. So we have a new valuation role. The current one that we have been using to collect is from 2005. So once we came into office, we have been able, I think that will really make a big difference. In addition to that, we are now going to operationalize the Nakuru Revenue Authority. So we have a way, like an authority that's just 100% focused on revenue collection. In addition to that, so we are also, as I said, completely automated. We are moving away from anybody handling any cash. And Chair, I believe when I see you, God willing, a year from now, you will see the difference.
Which platform are you using? Which revenue collection system?
C-forms. Yeah, C-forms, Chair, C-forms.
Senator Methu?
Maybe we then need to share experiences of those who have really done well. An example being one of our Kenya Kwanza governors, Governor from Murang'a, who picked his own source revenue at 453 million and has now gone to 1 billion. So that is a growth of 100%, 453 to 1 billion. So I know it is doable. You could borrow from, especially the others, just as I had said, even for the governor for Laikipia, he had to call all the ranchers in Laikipia so that they can do a negotiation and see how much they can be able to strike a balance on the much that they can be able to pay. So, because if you are able to even look at the dates that you have, if you just focus on ensuring that you collect the dates, either in cash or by them ceding some part of their of what they have. I'm sure you shall be able to grow.
Have you been preparing financial statements for the city?
Yes, Chair, we
The
do.
board is in place?
Yes,
It has budgets?
yes,
And the financial statements are prepared?
yes, sir.
OAG, have you audited the city financials?
Yes, Chair, we have audited for 2022-2023.
Is there any revenue collected by the city, or all revenues are collected by the county?
It's collected by the county, all the revenues.
And then the county transfers to the city?
Yes.
Should it also, when you think about it, you've got a city board, shouldn't there be levies and fees and tariffs by the city? Because the city is offering services, so that the city gets paid for those services, rather than the county being paid for those services. Governor.
Yes, thank you, Chair. We are actually seeding some of those streams, the collections to be done by the city and the municipalities as well. It's one of the functions that we are seeding in some of the streams. Is that the right word? Yeah.
Because that is where we'll test.
Sorry, Chair.
That's where we are going to test compliance with Section 5(1)(c) of the Urban Areas and Cities Act.
Sure.
So Nakuru is a county, but that entity called a city needs to have the capacity to generate sufficient revenue to sustain its operations as a city. And it would be interesting to look at the financial statements of the city when they come before the House.
Sure. So just